Father Barnabas Powell is pastor of Saints Raphael, Nicholas, and Irene, Greek Orthodox Church of Cumming, Georgia, USA. Here's Father Barnabas with Sunday's homily.
As I was preparing for this homily this morning, I was doing a great deal of reading, and my habit is that I try to read as much news as I possibly can. And I try to read what's popular going on in popular culture, because I know you're out there and you're walking through the grocery store, and you're looking at the headlines on the Sun and the National Enquirer, and Pope receives secret message from aliens, and Bigfoot spotted at the local Kroger, things like that. And I like to keep up with that kind of stuff, because if I can't find a way to take this beautiful, timeless faith and have you apply it to your everyday life, then, brothers and sisters, something horrible will happen to you and your children. You'll start believing that the faith is only just for Sunday mornings, or the faith is only just, that's just, what my yaya and my papu believed. You'll fail to understand that the purpose of the Orthodox faith is nothing less than to get into every aspect of your life. The way you drive your car, the way you wash dishes, the way you organize your closet, the way you do all of these things. As the apostle said, whatever you do in word or deed, do all to the glory of God. Well, how do you do that? Especially in a culture that has fallen into what I believe with all my heart is a caustic and damaging lie. It starts with a phrase that I've heard over and over and over again. One of them was when several years ago there was a woman's march, and one lady stood up and she said, "I am a nasty girl." You are. Well, please keep to yourself. I'm a nasty girl. I do what I want. Oh, you do? Okay. And then, of course, we hear this theme over and over again, and it's especially caustic among our young people. And brothers and sisters, I've got to confess to you, please pray for me this morning, because I really want to communicate today. I don't want to build any walls. I want to build some bridges so that I can really get what I'm trying to say across to you. This is a big deal. This may be one of the most important homilies I've ever preached, at least for me. But we live in a culture that is gripped by what I believe is a damaging and caustic lie. And it's not a damaging and caustic lie because I don't like it. It's a damaging and caustic lie because if you buy into this lie, brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, men and women, young people and older people, your life will not be what God created it to be. It won't. This lie will hurt you. And it is not a kindness, brothers and sisters, to help people stay sick. It is not mercy, it is not compassion to help people stay deluded. In fact, it is the lowest form of cruelty to leave men and women in the caustic sickness of their deluded lies. It's cruel to leave you there. Even though, I confess to you, the medicine may taste bitter. And even though I confess to you, when you hear this, you may get mad at me. It may come as a surprise to some of you that there are people who don't like me. I know it's shocking. It shocked me. I couldn't believe it. But the lie that I'm talking about that has ground its way down deep into the lives of especially our young people nowadays, is this phrase that I heard: my body, my choice. Make no mistake about it, this morning, I don't want to have any kind of ambiguity. That is a lie. It's a lie. Now, to people who have been misused, to people who have been mistreated, to those who have been treated like second-class citizens, to those who have been abused by laws and by people who have lorded over them and treated them like they were chattel or they were property, I can hear why, and I understand completely why that lie is so tempting. I can do anything I want. It's my body. Folks, this is not a new idea. This is an old, ancient heresy. It's been around for centuries. But the coming of Jesus Christ is the exposure of that lie and the weakness of that lie. Because you see, ladies and gentlemen, we Orthodox believe that Jesus Christ is fully God and fully man at the same time. He's not 50% God and 50% man. He's 100% God and 100% man without division or confusion. Father, that doesn't make any sense. Welcome to my world. You've just now put your finger on why there's been so many theological arguments about this for centuries. But this notion that the physical and the spiritual are not connected, that as long as I think the right thoughts about God in my head, what I do with my body doesn't matter. After all, it's my body. My body, my choice. We hear it talked about in the debate about abortion. My body, my choice. I hear young people tell me all the time. I have a relative. She's one of the millennials, and a brilliant young lady and very talented artist, but she draws on herself. I don't know if you've ever seen that before. There are people nowadays, they draw on themselves. Some of the drawings are permanent. They call them tattoos. I said, what are you doing drawing on yourself? I was 4 years old and I figured out I should stop drawing on myself. What's the deal? Of course, there is a very ancient rule, by the way, we got it from the Jews, that if you have a tattoo, you can't be buried in holy ground. Of course, that's completely changed. The reason why that was a rule back then was because tattooing was used to swear allegiance to a god in the pagan pantheon. Now, that's not the way it is now. When somebody gets a little hard on their ankle, I don't think that they're swearing allegiance to some deity. I don't know. I hope you're not. But the reality is that my body, my choice, I can do with my body what I wish because it's my body. It's mine. It belongs to me. And that, my angels, is a lie. It's not true. Today is St. Valentine's Day, and we celebrate the sentiment of romance, which I think is absolutely the absolute lowest form of the notion of love because it's so easily disrupted. The first time that your sweetheart has bad breath, there goes the romance. Ugh. Something that flimsy, folks, you can't build a lifetime on, guys. I'm telling you, it's too small. So, we celebrate romance today, and we live in a day and an age where the young men and young women are gripped by this notion of, well, my body, my choice, and if I feel like I was born in the wrong body, I'll do with my body what I please and change it into the body that I think I ought to have. But that's not true, folks. It's not your body. And the message of the Orthodox faith is the integration of the physical and the spiritual so that you become a whole and complete human being. So that you're not this bifurcated creature that is suffering from schizophrenia to the point where you don't know who you are. The identity crisis that is going on among our young people today because of our affluence. And our ability to say, oh, well, if I don't like my body, I can change it. Do you know that's a first world problem? Third world folks don't have that problem. They're too busy trying to live every day. But in this society that has forgotten that God has married the physical and the spiritual together for your salvation, for your wholeness, for your completeness, for your health, for your sanity, for your peace. They have fallen for the lie that I own myself when you don't own yourself. There's a man that is now suing his parents for being born. I didn't ask to be born. And he's suing his parents, seeking damages from them for bringing him into the world. I don't get it. I don't understand the mindset that brings you there. But I tell you, I do know how the mindset fosters, and it's this self-centered notion, I belong to me. When you don't, folks, your body is the temple of God. On this Sunday of the Canaanite woman, that which you withhold, watch this, that which you withhold from the lordship of Jesus Christ, whether it is your thought life, your physical life, your spiritual life, that which you hold back for yourself, that which you hold back for your own sovereignty, will be that which will anchor you to a world that is slipping further and further into the madness of self-centeredness. You belong to God. And you will never be happy. You will never be whole. You will never be completely at peace until you grapple with the implications of that truth. You are the temple of God. You were made to be God's habitation. You were made to be God's home. That's why you're here, to learn how to become that. And it won't happen if you withhold part of your life. The epidemic of suicides among 15 to 24-year-olds in this society right now, since the last 12, 14 months, has been terrifying to the folks at the CDC. They don't know what to do. It's a pandemic. They don't know how to deal with it. They don't know what to do. The suicide rate, we just heard 15-year-old boy text his mother and his sister, call 911, I can't take it anymore, I'm shooting myself. They found his body in the woods. 15 years old. And yet we've just celebrated the homegoing of our precious Mary Milam, whose body was twisted and mangled for 40 years by multiple sclerosis. And every time I saw her, I asked her, Mary, how are you? Oh, Father, I'm so happy. This woman whose body didn't work anymore still considered the gift of life and the gift of her body to be glorious to God. Brothers and sisters, there is one way that leads to death and another way that leads to life. And I promise you, the way to death is the way through self-centeredness, and I'll hold back my body from belonging to God. That is the way of death. You will die. The way of life sees everything in my life as gift. And I live Eucharistically, expressing gratitude to God for His gifts and His mercy and His kindness and His blessings and His provision for my life. I live in such gratitude that I am liberated. I'm liberated from the self-centeredness that says, my body, my choice. Our young people are being formed by a society that wishes them to die. Now, that's not the way society is going to talk about it. They're going to talk about it like freedom and personal autonomy and empowering. And their intentions, brothers and sisters, many times are good. If you've never been the second-class citizen someplace, if you've never been put down because of the color of your skin or because of the fact that you were a woman in a man's world, if you've never experienced that, then you need to understand where those who have felt abused and taken advantage of are coming from. They're looking for a way out of their slavery. I get it. It makes perfect sense to me. This is not the path. The demanding of rights and the demanding of I get to do what I want when I want to do it is not freedom. It is the antithesis of freedom. It leads to slavery and death. The freedom comes from gratitude, my brothers and sisters, and that only comes from when my knee bows before the great King who has given me life and given me even my body. which has been given to me to glorify Him. On this Valentine's Day, let's abandon the self-centeredness of consuming others for our own pleasure. Let's abandon the slavery of pornography, the slavery of self-centered actions. Let's abandon the slavery of sexual immorality, the slavery of demanding rights to the exclusion of all things good. Let's abandon that lie. And let's hear the gospel this morning. Your faith has made you well. Your faith has answered your prayers. Amen.
You can follow Father Barnabas on YouTube or on our church website at stsrni.org. Thank you for watching.